but I'm going to assume most of you don't live in the American ghetto. Yeah, I said ghetto. And the left doesn't like that word. You know why? Because they like to cleanse the language. Because then I guess it doesn't look so ugly. So we cleanse the language. We call it, what? Economically depressed. We call it central cities. No, it's a ghetto. And I call it a ghetto for a reason. Riots are not caused by police use of force. Riots are caused by the failure of government. Riots are caused because liberal Democrat politicians in these urban centers cannot do the hard work or will not do the hard work of solving urban pathologies that build up over time and lead to riots off of something like a police use of force that's nothing more than a catalyst to a simmering situation. Inescapable poverty in the ghetto, massive unemployment. In the city of Milwaukee, the black unemployment rate, black males, 33%. The national average for black male unemployment is 15. So we're nearly 3. We're over twice the unemployment rate. So you have men in their prime working years sitting around idle. What are they going to do when they're sitting around idle? Part of the human condition. You're going to find some way to get by, and it's not going to always be socially acceptable. Selling drugs, robbing 7-Elevens, another urban pathology, crime-ridden neighborhoods, ineffective parenting, fathering kids out of wedlock. These are not necessarily all urban pathologies. These are pathologies that when you stick them all in one area of the city, what do you think is going to happen? So when these people in the political class can't solve these problems, what do? We send the police. That's what we do. With all the crime and all the violence, somebody has to go down there and give the overwhelming majority of good, law-abiding black people some sense of a peaceful life. Somebody's got to go down there and do it, so we send the police. Officer, go down there and keep those people from killing each other, raping, robbing, and pillaging the community. And we do. We use our training, we use our experience to go down there and do that very tough job. Because they won't, the political class won't do their job. Because I always say, and that's what we're doing now, we're trying to fix the police. And I keep telling people, stop trying to fix the police, fix the damn ghetto. Ask yourself why we need so much assertive policing in the American ghetto. Why does policing work in your community? We're talking about it at the table over here. Because in many of your communities, you have what's called informal social controls. Informal social controls keep crime and violence in check. What's an informal social control? Effective parenting is an informal social control. Those are your kids. You take care of them. Functioning schools are an informal social control. We all know that kids who are educated are less likely to engage in some of the abhorrent behavior that we're seeing. It's an informal social control. You have functioning schools in your community. In your community, most people are employed. supporting their family. When you're at work, guess what you're not out doing? Committing crime. A job is an informal social control. Better lifestyle choices, which is what I talk to young people about all the time. Everywhere I go. Make better lifestyle choices. These things that you're doing today are going to have a profound effect on you later on. Make better lifestyle choices. I don't sit up and talk to young people and say, oh, life's not fair and, racism. And make better lifestyle choices. Nobody held a gun to your head and told you to join this gang. Use these drugs. Make better lifestyle choices. Let's see, there's not a lot of effective parenting and all this stuff coming together. Mentoring and leaders to show the way, right? Role models, what we call them. There aren't any role models. They're all in prison, in and out of jail. And they see that every day, and it becomes part of the landscape, and they think this stuff's normal. So then I come along, and I embrace being a role model in my community, and the left tries to make me the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. And I say, oh, really? And I look, and I say, I'm employed. Been employed for the last 45 or so years. My wife and I have a home. We built that home from the ground up. I have my education. I have a graduate degree. What do you mean I'm the problem? If the worst that happens to many of these kids, you got to tell this to the left. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. But if the worst that would happen if they looked at me and said, I want to be like that guy, is what? They turn out to be a conservative? Because that's what they're really afraid of. That's really what they're afraid of, but I think it's a shame. So we send the police in. When you send the police, it is a high-risk proposition. I'll tell you why. Because we do two things well. I didn't say this is the only thing we do. We do two things well. We keep the peace. We enforce the law. That's in our wheelhouse. We do other things. That's in our wheelhouse. If you need that done, call us. For all this other stuff, I say, don't call us. No, I'm serious. I talk about informal social controls. Dr. Arnn and I were talking about that, how he can get involved in some things going on with the kids at school. You don't need the police if you have effective parenting. My mom and dad didn't need the police when it came to me. Matter of fact, sometimes I wish, when my mom gave me that, wait till your dad comes home, I was hoping the police would arrive first. And don't get me wrong. My dad didn't beat me unnecessarily. It was just the fear. That look. The fear was enough. That's why all my mom had to say was, wait till your dad gets home. That's all she had to say. That's all she had to say. Effective parenting. You folks know about it, but I'll tell you right now, in the ghetto, it is in short supply. So you send the police. Remember, we keep the peace and we enforce the law. If there's a violation of the law, we have to take action. And we can do any number of things, right? But I'll tell you right now, if it comes down to giving a lawful command and it's not followed, we can't walk away. I watch the stuff going on in schools. You've seen some of the incidents with law enforcement officers in school, and first of all, I tell people when they say, oh, look, did you? I said, well, first of all, I said, something happened that caused that officer. I'm not making excuses. Somebody didn't comply with a law enforcement officer's lawful command. Young lady, you got to leave the classroom. First of all, the teacher told her to leave the classroom. She effed the teacher, right? Teacher calls the principal. Principal comes in, young lady, she F's the principal. Call the cops. Remember when I said when you call the cops, high risk. You can't F the police. We can't walk away. The teacher walked away. Well, I can't. She won't listen to me. The principal, well, she won't listen to me. The cop can't say, that's what I would have done. The cop would have said, no, it's your student. She won't listen to me. You handle it. There's no violation of the law here. That's what we do. And she's just sitting in the desk and walk away. But we don't get to do that. First of all, I think it's a sad day to have police officers in school. One of the first things I did as sheriff, I took them out. I took my deputies out of schools. I said, they don't belong there. It's not one of our core functions. And don't give me this, well, hey, cops can establish relationships. Forget about that. When I was in school, you know who the teachers relied on? Mom and dad. Not the cops. But we think this is a neat thing. Let's put the cops in school. It's not a neat thing. You put these cops in these situations, and they use force, and I'm not making excuses for it, but some of the incidents that I saw, I said, wait a minute. He had to use force. His lawful command was not adhered to. He had to use force, but here's where we have to judge now on its reasonableness. Not could he have done something else. It's not what the law says. The law says we judge officers' actions on reasonableness. Is what he did under those circumstances reasonable? Under the circumstances, not what you would have done, not what you would have done, because I heard people, well, I would have done. I said, but you didn't get called, we did.